Thank you for having me. So I represent it's a very grassroots organization called Your Party Muslim Network. We literally came together within the week before the founding conference for Your Party. And the topic of this meeting is what's next for Your Party. And to explain this from the point of view of Your Party Muslim Network, I'm going to take it back a little bit pre-conference. So in our recent history, we've had the two-party control of, well, not even recent history, it's historic, two-party control of Britain's political history, which created a desperate state of affairs. Over the last 1.5 decades, we've lived through years of austerity, inequality, divisive governance, where corruption was the norm, and we simply had to live through it and make the most of it. The cost of living still is the price we have to pay to be alive. Then there grew a major distrust in the government and its lack of ethics. And with the recent genocide of Gaza 2023, we saw clearly what the major governments of the world represent, and that is their own interests alone. And there was no longer any doubt about it. So although the government has worked to divide the population individually, our humanity has overridden all of the differences of colour, background, history, and demographics. And I have to say personally, as someone who has experienced racism while growing up, it's been hugely eye-opening and emotional for me to see this. So it is out of this renewed shared sense of humanity that the dream of Your Party arose. For most of us, we saw this as our only source of hope, a once-in-a-lifetime chance to bring the country kind of back to its factory settings, as it were. And it's been a rollercoaster ride over the last few months since it was first announced. The conference was nothing short of a whirlwind from start to finish. But it was really hard for some people to imagine, or many to imagine, that we could actually have a party that was designed by those at grassroots level rather than top-down dictatorship. It was too good to be true, but we saw history being made by exactly this. And then we come to the need for the Your Party Muslim Network. So British Muslims have been a part of this nation's history for centuries, but we've never truly had a political home. Muslims form the backbone of the workforce in all sectors and are always ready to help, serve, and build. There's always been a hesitation by the Muslim community to engage in politics. And so the Muslim Network hopes to bridge that gap by reassuring the community and encouraging engagement. Muslims are one of the largest groups to mobilize effectively when faced with an important cause. And the missing factor of trust is the key here. So all of us want to help build a party rooted in justice, equality, and genuine inclusivity. And our aim is the same as what we envision to be the next steps for Your Party. I asked members of our group for feedback about what we should focus on now that the conference is over and work can really begin. And the first and most crucial step, as Michael has mentioned, is to forge unity and a common aim. We cannot encourage divisiveness if that is what we are aiming to get rid of. We can have respectful disagreement and debate, as this encourages progress, but we need a united force, both internal and external, with no distractions. So, and one of the amendments that were voted for was a decision to back focused campaigns and candidates for the May Council elections. And our group mentioned that there is a real need to discuss how to work with independent candidates and groups that will fold into Your Party in preparation for the May Council elections and to obviously build up for the general election in the future. So this links on with developing organised sections and branches for Your Party. A major issue, obviously, is the rise of fascism, and that requires its own constructive kind of plan of action. Islamophobia has become so acceptable that certain MPs sitting in Parliament have jeered at the concept of it. I just heard recently a Catholic nun in Croatia reported an attack by a Muslim man. Only later it was found that this was a self-inflicted wound that she had reported. And although this was kind of made public that this is a fake story, Islamophobic attacks continued. So to counter some of the rhetoric of the far right, many mosques across UK have invited members of the public for what are called Visit My Mosque Days. And these were really lovely events of bridge building, and they were a huge success. And I was also happy to hear that the Right Reverend Aaron Aurora, Bishop of Kirkstall, and many others from the Church of England, Baptist Union of Great Britain, Methodist Church, and others are launching a campaign to confront the use of Christianity for a nationalistic anti-migrant agenda. And this involves posters and literature being shared, which are titled "Christ Has Always Been in Christmas" and "Outsiders Are Welcome," as opposed to the rhetoric created by Tommy Robinson's upcoming events for Christmas, which are titled "United for Christ this Christmas." So other than this, the policies concerning the community to be addressed by your party are the cost of living, education, lack of adequate social and developmental opportunities available to families and children, the building of the NHS and public services is a priority, an anti-austerity and just economy. Environmental justice is an issue that concerns the community, from the dumping of sewage in rivers to polluted neighbourhoods and poorly insulated homes that affect us all. More ideas that I've come across are a 4-day work week, and there have been pilot schemes for this all over the UK. Birmingham even has a special 4-day work week drive for teachers. Universal basic income is a desire for the working class. Basic income should be universal, individual, and high enough to ensure a dignified existence and participation in society. And all of these factors help to improve mental health, create a thriving society where children are nurtured to be the best they can be, and to develop a welcome future. So other points were to increase the likelihood of fair elections, to have proportional representation, and to work towards this over the next few years if possible, as well as a minimum voter turnout threshold for democratic construction of policies. So, I mean, from the list that I've just mentioned, it's obvious that the matters that affect us all are the same. And as long as we focus on our aims and do not become distracted, we can pave the way for a better future for our children.